Hi, this is Makona Spokane, the leader and the founder of the Young Men Empowerment Forum. As we deal with emotions and conditions that one has as a young man, and that you need help about. And I'm speaking about this part 5 today. And today we want to deal with mental illnesses, or rather, let's speak about also mental health as in men. And I want to emphasize that young men, please be aware that men have mental illnesses too. And I'm saying this that we must be aware that there are other things that we ignore and we think that they are just habits, and only to find that they're actually emanating from having a mental illness of some sort, but we are not aware of that. Now, as a young man, I want you to be vigilant enough. Look at the so-called habit that you have, the so-called behavior that you have, and that you might have accepted in your life, and you think that it is normal. For an example, if you are temperamental to an extent of where you snap quickly, you've got anger that doesn't actually go away. Anger that is to a level where you could actually kill someone because you are angry. So this may be seen just as an emotion. This may be seen as a habit, and I know that many of the young men would have even accepted the fact that they are snapping up. They have accepted the fact that they are temperamental and they get angry quickly to an extent that they will actually even share and boast about it. Tell people that I get angry very quickly, and I don't take bribery here in this. I get angry very quickly. And you find that somebody is actually nursing this and marinating it and making it sound good to be somebody who's having this habit of being angry and snapping up quickly and for no reason. And this is something that is very important that we deal with, that if you are not aware, you may find that this particular problem is not just that you snap, but it could be a mental illness of some sort that you need to deal with. But unless if you are aware that this is a mental illness, you're going to have a problem of dealing with it, because you will think that it is something that is acceptable, and therefore stay with this, as I said, marinate it, be proud of it, and boast about it, and end up actually doing something stupid with your life or with this type of particular behavior, because you've accepted it in you and you thought that this is normal. But I must emphasize that mental illnesses doesn't necessarily mean walking up in the streets and picking up papers. And I must emphasize this. Some of the mental illnesses are things like anxiety of no reason, and that will actually be excessive to an extent that you don't know what it is about. Some of the mental illnesses are depression of some sort that may actually be consistently continue in your life until it actually disturbs the normal functioning of the body itself. And you are so much closed up with depression that you have accepted it as part of your life, but only to find that this is a mental illness that you might need to consult. I must emphasize that as a young man, please, make sure that you understand that some of the mental illnesses are the things that many people have accepted in their lives as normal. And therefore, they've embraced those, and nobody would raise it to them. That's a mental illness. And people would accept it, as I said, because in our cultural backgrounds and in our communities and societies, they've actually diagnosed mental illness as somebody who speaks alone. Somebody who actually walks in the street naked, or somebody who stays and walks in the street and never changes clothes with dirty clothes and so on. That's how people look at those people that are psychotic in nature as the only people with mental sickness. But we must understand that mental illness is actually much deeper than that. There are many in our communities that are having mental illnesses, as I've given an example of very excessive anger. And these are type of things that we need to be wary of, be careful of, pick them up and be able to identify that this is a mental illness. I cannot ignore it anymore. Why is it happening so so frequently? Why is it happening and so much to an extent that I cannot not control it? Because if it controls you, therefore, it is actually much more than what you think. So I'm emphasizing this and say, therefore, let us seek help from professionals. Let us seek help from psychiatrists if we are actually going through habits that we don't understand. I'm talking about those habits that are controlling you. Addictions of some sort, for instance. Some of the addictions, and most of them actually, is mental health. And I must actually emphasize that it's a mental sickness that you may not pick up. And there are many of you young men that might be having sexual addiction, that might be having alcohol addiction, that might be having drug addiction, and all those things. Addictions, and because they are just addictions and they look normal addictions, according to you, because there are many people that might be in those type of addictions, this might be a mental illness. But I must emphasize that if it is a mental illness, therefore, you need to rise up and seek for help, because it is very important that we understand that we need to be helped in this life. It is not unhumanly to struggle with mental illness as a human being. And I want you as a young man to understand that it is nothing wrong that you struggle with mental illness. There are many out there that are having mental illnesses as well. So therefore, don't be shy to verbalize and bring it up. Don't be shy to go and consult and see a psychiatrist because of that. Because that's very important. That's the only way you're going to be helped. And some have been helped and be put on medication, and they are able to manage their condition well. And they become actually normal like any other person because they've shouted and raised up their hands for being helped, because it's not unhumanly to struggle with mental sickness. So please remember that we are there. We want to support you. And as young men as well, you're having many people around who want to support you. Your own family want to support you. And your own friends around might be there to want to support you. And the professionals are there as well, available to want to support you. But if you don't identify that this is a mental illness and you need help out of it, you're not going to be able to be supported. So therefore, let us go out there and support our fellow men. You might be that as a young man, you know one of your friends struggles with mental illness. They may not be able to see that this is a mental illness. So if that is the case, please sit down with them, advise them with respect, and make sure that you explain to them the need for help, for seeking for help. The need to shout and seek for help, because that's the only way they're going to find help. So as a young man as well, I want to emphasize that if it is one of your friends that is going through mental illness, be non-judgmental about it. Don't judge them. Don't make them feel demeaned and feel like they are crazy and they have lost their mind. Listen to this. Mental illness doesn't necessarily mean that one is lunatic. It doesn't necessarily mean that somebody is psychotic. And listen to this. It is an illness like any other illness. So please feel free to seek for help and never be shy and hide it on your own, because the more you hide it, the more it becomes dangerous to yourself. And sometimes you become even dangerous to the society as well. And we emphasize in this because it is very important that we make sure that you understand. And please, let's encourage young men that are feeling despondent, they are feeling afraid to come out, they are feeling afraid to tell other people. Let's encourage them, because it's not inhuman or unhuman to struggle as a young man. It's not unhuman for a young man to struggle with mental illnesses as well. It is very important that we support those. It's very important that we encourage them to seek medical help, to seek professional help, and that will help them as well. And if they are our friends, our own peers, our own colleagues, wherever we are, let us encourage them and make sure that they rise up and seek for help where they need to seek for help. Don't belittle or silence men that are speaking about their own condition. Don't silence them. Don't belittle them. Don't make them feel like they are lesser of human. As I've said earlier, that when a man cries, don't make them feel like they're lesser men. So please make them aware that we're not going to judge them. We allow them to express their own emotions. And if they're struggling with mental illness, please don't belittle them either. Please make sure that you don't silence them from shouting out for help and seeking help, because men struggle too. And I must emphasize that it's not only women that struggle. But unfortunately, is that men don't come up, men don't speak out, and we're seeing women coming up quickly, and that is why they are being helped in their situation. But men, because they are forever quiet and not speak out, what we're canvassing right now in this teaching is that come up and speak up, and people will be ready to help you. We're having professionals out there that will be able to step in and help you. And as I say, also, as Young Men Empowerment Forum, we are there. We're not going to judge you. We're going to help you. We're going to refer you to the right people. Please shout and let us know. And I want to close it up here. And your host, my Connor Spokane. I want to remind you of our YouTube channel, Young Men Empowerment Forum, and my Connor Spokane, as well as you can Google it in YouTube, and you'll actually get those. Make sure that you also like our Facebook pages, Young Men Empowerment Forum, and our Facebook page, my Connor Spokane. So we will be posting these teachings there, and may the good Lord bless you. Allow me to check out and say cheers for now.